Oh, I am so happy. Smile! Doctor Who Series 10, Episode 2. This is getting out a little later than I like it. I like to try and get these out at least the following morning from when the episode airs, if not the same night. I had a busy weekend, and I'm going to give you a heads up now. I got a busy weekend next weekend. I got a busy weekend the weekend after that. So the next few of these are going to be a little bit later than I would normally like them to be. So deal with that, moving on. So this episode, this is our follow-up. This is our chance to get a sense of Bill actually, going on a more standard adventure now that she has, met the Doctor, been in the TARDIS, wrapped her head around what's going on. What do I think? It's okay. I mean, that's just kind of where it lands overall. It's not great. It's not terrible. Obviously, there's still kind of building up the vault, and I kind of wish that had been a little bit more background. I don't think they had to bring it up again right off the bat as hard as they did. I don't like how Nardole fit into this, where right now he's, the Doctor calls him Mum. He's the nagging matronly figure who's trying to stop the Doctor from going out having fun. And I don't like that. I think that's a poor use for that character. So I figure something's got to change it. He's got to start coming on adventures with them. I don't know what that change will be, but so for right now, that strikes me as a severe underutilization of that character. That said, I can get why Nardole's not necessarily in this one, because this is the episode that is going to give us the strongest sense of sort of nailing down what the dynamic of Bill and the Doctor is. And the two of them work pretty well together. I like that Bill, she thinks she uses her brain, but obviously she's not as quick as the Doctor is on his own, but she does okay. She's not dumb. The Doctor himself is pretty good in this. I kind of like that he's so certain he's got it figured out early on. He kind of gets carried away, with, I'll just blow this up. It'll be fine. And that might have been something that would have caught my attention. Like, is that a good idea? Except they sort of wrapped it in this idea of focusing on Bill and her trying to get an understanding of, that he's not just going to run away, and he is going to try and stop and try and prevent this dangerous situation from killing more innocent people. So that led to her having a better understanding. So they kind of hid his rashness in that, and I thought that worked pretty well. As far as the setting, the situation they get in, it's pretty generic. I mean, it's not an uncommon, futurist sci-fi trope where you've basically got machines that kind of either misinterpret their instructions or take them a step too far and end up being a detriment rather than a benefit. That's a pretty well-worn trope. As far as seeing it realized here, it's okay. It's fine. There's a couple of clever things involved in it. I actually think the badges, the emotional badges, are actually really well executed as a concept, because that sort of thing, being forced to wear an emotional badge so that the robots can clearly read, that again, that has an air of a lot of sort of dystopian setting things where, you can't hide, and you have this thing that makes it very clear, what, sort of broadcasts you to the world and forces you to be an open book. But I like that they took something that was not the most original idea in a way, but found like interesting little spins, little ways to tweak it, like the fact that the person who's wearing it can't see it. That's actually, because otherwise you get that emotional feedback loop and like, yeah, no, he's right. That's a clever little adjustment, a clever little tweak, in the fact that it's on their back and they can't look at it. So, not an exceptionally original idea, but, they didn't just do it. They put some thought into it. It's kind of the same thing with the little tiny machines, God, I can't even remember what they call them. The Vardis, they call them the nanobots. That's nanobots, micro machines, whatever you want to call them. Again, nothing exceptionally new there. The idea of the whole buildings being built out of them was, I'm not sure if I've seen that exact thing done, but it's close enough to stuff that I have done that it wasn't like a, kind of moment. But again, the episode was largely about, nailing down the dynamic between the Doctor and Bill. I think it did that pretty well. But this isn't... It's not an episode that bears revisiting or requires it. Nothing about it made me go, ooh, let me watch that again right away. So it's, but nothing about it made me angry. Nothing about it was bad. It was just fine. It felt, it's not even filler. It just feels like this is kind of the process. We got to get it out of the way. We chose a kind of generic story in which to do it. Let's move on. Let's see what comes next. Sort of the ending capper felt, I don't know, kind of tacked on. And so, I mean, overall, this episode is just, it's fine. That's obviously a step down from the previous episode. I liked the pilot a lot. So, it is a step down, but it's not a nosedive. And it's a step down in a way that I understand why it's a step down. Because knowing what the episode was trying to accomplish in terms of establishing character dynamics and, whether or not you want a more involved story when you're trying to do that. So, I get all that. I get why it is the way it is. But it is still a step down. It's just not a nosedive. I really would like the next episode to have a more clever story, because the pilot had a pretty basic story as well, kind of for a similar reason. The point was to establish Bill and to establish how she got caught up in this world, and you don't need to be telling a complicated story on top of that. You can get wires crossed that way. So in both cases, I understand why the episodes are the way they are. Can we get a more clever, more intricate, more twisty or timey-wimey or unexpected story with the next one? Because I feel like we've earned it at this point. So I guess that's where I land on this one. It was fine. What's next? So that's it for Smile. It's my thoughts on that one. Have you seen... I hope you've seen it. I'm not doing spoiler-free anymore because I ruined it for you if you haven't seen it. But... Smile, second episode of Doctor Who Series 10. What were your thoughts on it? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check me out on Twitter at Council of Geeks. Give a listen to the Council of Geeks podcast, available on iTunes and Stitcher. And until next time, this council is adjourned.